Trey, what do you think of that, man?
Well, I think it's foundational to the growth of FFL. I think we were so good at it, we stopped doing it at some point. But if you look back, like if I could do one of those Ken Burns documentaries and talk about the history of FFL and where it came from, a big part of it, uh, there'd be a whole chapter called Team Sport. And nobody used to look at it. Even when the logo thing started, we were all Sean Mike's team, and that's how we approached it. And I think that's everything. I'm going to comment on everything too. And I tell you what, it's a big part of just keeping your attitude and your mindset right, because you can't cheer everybody on and have a bad attitude.
That is true.
Like it's the easiest way to stay in the right mindset. Just be super excited for other people's success, and eventually, it's a reciprocating effect. Like when you're having a down day, you can't. It's impossible to have a down day when you're excited for everybody else's success because the people you're excited for won't let you have a bad day. The structure and accountability that we're all looking for really just comes from cheering each other on.
I agree. Trey, what do you think about KG? Tiffany goes into social media, finds KG's poster everywhere, and now she has someone who came in here, and Corinne didn't have to recruit her. She found Corinne, and now she's got 10 people in for the week, and I think she had another 5 come in today just from that. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
glorious story.
I think that's
Sorry. I cut somebody off. I didn't mean to do that.
No, here, let me make it so people can't just jump in. So yeah, that's powerful. Let's get through the rest of our numbers before we bring on Trey. Let's see what we got here. Top recruiting agencies, Undeniable 6, Fury 9, Golden State 10, National 12, High Voltage 15. Again, as a whole, we had 69 for the week. Jamie, I think Jamie put the slide together. Did you go through this, Dom, last week? Just these
Frank did.
Oh, Frank did?
Yep.
You want to go over this?
Absolutely, man. So if you don't have this picture already, take a picture of this, okay? And really this time is for us just to take some time and think of 5 people, your Facebook list, your phone, your Instagram list, that you can do this with. And I know week after week, you may be like, oh, we did this last week. I promise you the time, this 2 or 3 minutes that we take every single week going over this, and the ones who actually use this time to start, hey, you know what? I'm going to text it out. I'm going to text it out. You do that every Monday. All right. Say this was the only time that you ever do this. Okay. Say this was the only time you ever do this. You take 3 minutes. You do this every Monday, 52 weeks out of the year. There's no way you're still a team of you. There's no way. And it costs you nothing. So if you're new in the business, this is a great thing to say, okay, and to send over. Don't edit it. Don't go, hey, I want to put it in my words. Just do it this way, okay? If you're not new to the business, hey, Jen, hope all is well with you, with your family. You may have seen that I help people with insurance and retirement stuff. Our company is looking to bring new reps on. If you know anyone, they pay really well, part-time and full-time. Here's an overview video. Pass this along for me. All right, you can use the joinus.fflall.com. That's going to take them to a YouTube overview, okay? You can use your link through ILC. It's on the left-hand side when you log in. It says my link or something like that on the left. Click on that. You can put that in there as well, okay? But this week, I mean, this time every week is just for us to, that reminder of, man, it's that simple to get to hire folks. And Trey, man, I mean, Trey's the freaking guru of the text to get people interested in your business. I promise you that. Like, he crushes it on that. So that's what I got as it pertains to that, man. But this is going to be big for us week after week after week for those who.
Were you on the Builders Call earlier at 12 today?
Yeah, with Jay.
Yeah,
he's a monster.
Absolutely. If you're looking to build a business, that's a call that you need to be on every single week, because Jay was phenomenal today. I think everyone should be on that. So our annuity leaderboard, we have Daryl Clark at 20. It's probably 24,000. I don't think you can do an annuity for 2,400. Shaq Stokes at 15,000. Lisa Harold at 50. Jesse Stam at 85,366. And then Jason Paul Messinger at 217,500. Whose team is Jason on? That's a good annuity. Who is that? No one's taking credit for that? All right. Well, great job, Jason, if you're here. Awesome. Weekly calls, take a picture of this. This is something that everyone should have in their calendar each and every week. Obviously, every Monday at 12, we do the builders call, fflbuilders.com. It's a great call. I'm on that every week. And then obviously every Monday at 6, our agency call. I think the call is getting bigger now. Last week we're at 199, 179 now. I mean, if you're looking to recruit, plug people into the call. We have phenomenal training every single Monday. And, once we get all these numbers correct, we see this many people on a call, just kind of instills belief. People log in, they're going to know that, there's not going to be 200 plus people on a call for something that doesn't work. So plug people into the Monday night agency call. Every Thursday, phenomenal call, our SRS training at srsliftoff.com. You want to make sure you're on that every week, learn more about IULs and annuities. So make sure people are plugged into that. And then every Friday at 11, TNL. That was a call back in the beginning. I remember back in the day when it was just by conference call, freeconferencecall.com. And that's a call that we used to never miss, but I don't think we have enough people on that. The training is absolutely phenomenal. Every Friday at 11, people should definitely be on that. And then every Saturday, plug your people into the new agent orientation at newagent.ffall.com. And then I keep saying it every week, we need to put all the dial rooms. I think there's like 6 or 7 dial rooms now within the agency. So we need to get a page and have them all on there. And then people can feel free to jump in whatever dial room you want and see what's going on. I know Jesse Stam is running a dial room where he's selling IULs every day. So I know that's available. I know that, Undeniable and Invincible, they got a dial room. And I know Dom's got one. So there's a bunch of different dial rooms that are going on. Definitely Colleen and Corinne have one. Everyone should be plugged into a dial room every single day that you're on the phone. The producer cruise, I don't know if we have the dates yet. Trey, have you heard what the official dates are for it?
I saw it somewhere, but I don't want to just shout out the wrong date. It's out there.
Yeah,
I just
I
don't
think
know what it is.
it might be February, March, April, May. Maybe it's another month in there. They just want to give the cruise away because they got, you only have to do 100,000 in the 90 days to be able to get to it. Dom, do you remember what it is? Was it
The qualification is
Oh, I know that.
February, March, April.
Okay. How come
February 1st.
we got on here and May?
Yeah, because it was going into May, like May 7th, but they retroed it and they just said full month of February, full month of March, full month of April.
Got it. And then July, right, is when the cruise is taking place.
Correct.
So only 100,000, only 100,000. So Tiffany, what do you think about that? You just started. How many of your people do you think you can get on the cruise? 100,000 in 90 days. Well, I know KG is going to be on there, so that's exciting. Agents that are currently on track to be on this cruise: April Turpin, Farzan, Benzak again, Nicholas Zentek, Daryl Clark. Great job, Daryl. Depot, Tarek, Amaka, Tracy, and Jesse again. So I was on the last one. It was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely something that you want to be on. So our guest tonight is Trey Honeycutt. Trey, I've known you for some time now, probably, what's it been? Probably 6, 7, 8 years now, 9 years. It's been a long time. 8 years, maybe.
Been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while. You were one of the originals, someone that I connected with back in the day. And then when I came back to the company, you were actually the first one that reached out to me. So I always appreciated that when I got that message from you. If you could just kind of share, and every time you train, man, I learned something. So I'm excited for you to be on. If you can kind of just share with everyone what it was like in the beginning, what you were doing when you first started, because I know you didn't come here as an agent, and then what you're doing now to build a $3 million agency. We'd all appreciate it, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank God you came back. I mean, to see the momentum that you guys have created, the attitude and the environment, all this is just really amazing, and I'm really impressed with this team. This is a great team for sure, and I'm proud to be locking arms and plugging in with you guys. I've actually never been so excited. I'm almost going to cry. I'm so excited because the first 12 minutes of this is like the most refreshing thing I think I've seen in years. So you guys are doing a lot. You guys are doing everything right. Now it's just a matter of time. But my background was real simple. I mean, before FFL, I just had a lot of odd jobs. I was in the Marine Corps for a while. I worked as a personal trainer, and I did that for 5 years. And then when I quit the gym, I quit the gym. So I gained like 100 pounds. But hey, I've lost 40 of it, so that's good news. But Well, when I got started with FFL, my whole deal, I came from another company. I was an agent, and the whole attitude that I had was like, if you can't beat them, join them. Because I was tired of, back then we just did in-home. I was tired of going to houses and then having FFL agents either come behind me and replace all my stuff, or they get there before me and I couldn't replace theirs. And so the number one thing I asked when I approached Andrew was like, hey, if I joined you guys, will you stop replacing my stuff? And it's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. But when I got started, it was purely to sell insurance. I didn't have any desire to recruit anyone or anything like that. I'd done a lot of multi-level marketing stuff in the past, and I was just tired of like going to the supermarket and having everybody run for me in the neighborhood, because they knew I was trying to get them into something. So for me, insurance was just like an honorable profession that I could hang my hat on and be like, look, I sell insurance, and I'm proud of that. And so that's how it started. And a couple of years into selling, the first year my mother passed away is what happened. And when my mom passed away, I was super depressed. So basically, Andrew Taylor gave me a job at his office to be his recruiter. And part of that job, it was a 40-hour-a-week job, but it was really like 50 hours a week. And I could only sell insurance on the weekend. So I was doing it part-time. So when I hear like Shakia's story doing it part-time, I really relate to that. The part-time opportunity at FFL gave me the structure that I needed to make it work. And I'll touch on that as we go along. But when the first quarter, I helped like 45 families. And then the first full year when my mom was sick, I only helped like 70 families. And what endeared me to this was the fact that Andrew never treated me any differently, whether I sold a lot or whether I sold a little. And the reason why was because he sold a lot himself. He didn't need my overrides to survive. That was it was the number one lesson I ever had in this business. Was the best thing you could do for your team is to not need them. So when you see Tiffany searching for, which is an incredibly insightful way to use the search tool, by the way, congratulations, top producer, FFL. That's the right thing to look for. The person that doesn't need you, the person that says, hey, let's go do it, not you go do it and let me get overrides. That's what everybody's really looking for. So that's how I got started in the company. You know, I was Andrew Taylor's recruiter for a couple of years. Finally, he took me to lunch one day and he goes, hey, you need to go do this for yourself because this isn't fair. So in 2017, I went back full time, and it's just the rest is history. It's been good since then.
Trey, were you like the best agent that ever started in the beginning?
Well, I had a really good attitude. I did have a good attitude, but I didn't do well. I can tell you some of the things I did good, and one of the things I didn't do good. And if you're new, here's a note you should take. When you get started, there's a few different types of people that start at this, right? There's people that are completely unmotivatable. Like they just signed up so they could say they're doing something, but they're really not going to do anything. Then there's people that are like motivatable. They could get excited by a call and go do some activity. Then there's self-motivated people, and then there's people that are motivators, like people follow them. So the self-motivated people and the motivators is probably the majority of this call. And the biggest struggle that y'all will have is you will feel like asking for help is bothering people. You don't want to bother people. So rather than ask for help and look for guidance, they just tend to isolate and try to figure it out on their own. The biggest mistake I made in the beginning was trying to figure a lot of it out on my own when I could have just reached out to the people that were there to help me and ask for help. And what you have to learn the skill set of is the skill set of asking for help without complaining. That's what I was afraid of when I was asking, when I needed guidance, was I don't want people to think that I'm complaining. So I just didn't do anything. So what I learned how to do is to go and say, hey, listen, I'm not complaining, but I'm struggling here. What should I do? What can I do? And then when people give you advice, actually go do it. That's where I messed up a lot in the beginning, is I isolated, I stayed by myself. I'd let days go by just thinking about the business instead of actually doing the business. I compared myself to a lot of other people. And the reality is that's probably a trap, because you can only grow in this from where you actually are. You can't grow in this from where you think you should be. So you can grow from where you actually are. You cannot grow from where you think you should be. So the trap is you look at everybody else's success and you say, oh wow, Holly, she helped 175 families in 2 days. I could never do that, and then people get discouraged. So you have to understand that every success that you see in the group, they started somewhere. There's a story behind the story. The thing that's the same between Sean, Mike, and every single one of us is there was a time when he did not have an insurance license. There was a time when he made his first sale. Every lesson you'll learn in this business, everybody else has had to learn too. They've just learned it at different times. There's nothing new under the sun. So what I'm trying to say there is circle the wagons, stay close to the fire, don't be afraid to ask for help. And you guys have the right environment to do it. I mean, when you get on a call with 200 people and on a regular basis, I mean, that's the right environment to make this thing work. So just stay close to the environment.
Trey, what did you do in the beginning? Because so many new people are on this call and they feel like they don't have it all figured out, or they think they need to know all the products before they can have success. What did you do in the beginning? I know I did that too. I thought how did you get past that as a new person to get out there and just start doing it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I used to, when I was a kid, I speed skated. That was my sport. People are like, you play football? No, I speed skated. Like nobody, and I'll say this. There was a time, so I was in the Marines, and there was a time, this is the only time that Sean has ever accused me of lying, because I said this. I said, hey, when I was in the Marines, I ran 3 miles in 16 minutes and 40 seconds. That's a true statement. Now, I can't walk 3 miles now, but back then I could do that. Okay, so what I learned from speed skating was what they called the rules of momentum. And here's what it was when it came to racing. The first one was a fast start is an easy start. You don't have to be good to start, but you do have to start in order to be good. And the more time that goes by between you learning and you taking action is the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's better for you to run and fall on your face and not get anywhere than it is for you to try to figure it all out. Because the more you learn that you don't know. Like when I was in 8th grade, I was in 8th grade and I thought I was Vanilla Ice. And so we would have 8th grade dances. And so I had the haircut and I wore the clothes and I could do all the lyrics and I could dance like the Vanilla Ice dances. And there was another kid at school named Shannon. And he was like the other Vanilla Ice. He was my competitor. And one day the story got out that we didn't like each other and he wanted to fight me. So what happened was we were going to fight at 3 o'clock on the basketball court after school. Now, contrary to popular belief, I haven't always been as cool as I am now. So I really didn't have any friends. And so it went around school that Tracy and Shannon were going to fight on the basketball court. So everybody thought it was a girls' fight. Well, I had 2 friends. I had Elder and I had Marlon. And Elder was like a black belt in Taekwondo, and Marlon was just wild. He watched a lot of WWE and he fought a lot. So during the breaks at school, in between periods, we would go to the bathroom because we knew this fight was coming up, and they would train me to fight. So I'd have like these 2-minute trainings in between the periods, and they were preparing me for all these different things. And we were doing eye gouges. This one is appropriate to bite. This is what happens if he pulls a knife. This is what happens if he pulls a gun. Like, I didn't even know any of these things were possibilities. So we go out to the basketball court. The more I learned to fight, the more I realized I don't know how to fight. It just created more anxiety. The more I had to learn, the more anxiety I had. So here I was at my lowest level of knowledge and my highest level of anxiety. Now we get out to the basketball court. He pushes me. I push him. I grab him, get him in a headlock. We roll around on the ground. Mr. Henderson breaks it up. And then from then on out, we were like best friends. So the biggest mistake is the more you learn, the more anxiety you're going to have. If you just go have the fight, you can avoid all that.
That is true.
So that's my best advice. Fast start is an easy start. Don't be afraid to go out there and just start. The next thing is smooth is fast. Consistent, persistent activity. Back to the speed skating analogy, smooth is fast. It's not a bunch of herky-jerky movements. It's not, let's do this for 2 days and change it. And let's do this and let's change that and let's keep changing and let's try to keep. It's not that. It's smooth, consistent activity will help you win the race. That's how it is here. You should get your work ethic. You should get your self-esteem from your work ethic, not from the results. The results come last. I understood when I started that the key to winning at this was just to make a decision to persevere for a year. I didn't expect to be the most profitable person in the first 2 weeks. It took me 8 years to run myself into financial ruin. I couldn't expect to change my financial situation for generations to come in a month. And so the expectation was if I did consistent, persistent activity over time, that I'd build the confidence to eventually be able to make this a really profitable endeavor. So move this fast. And then the third thing, when it comes to creating momentum, that I learned from speed skating is you never catch what you chase. If you guys have ever watched speed skating races on TV, they have something called team pursuit. And what that is you never catch what you chase unless you're chasing it with a group of people. It's not you doing it by yourself, but 5 people in a row in lockstep doing the same thing. Now, if somebody sprints, it's really easy to draft and stay close to them. But if you're just out there doing it by yourself, trying to figure it out, you'll never get any momentum in this. So environment plays a huge role in whether or not you're going to win. You want to plug in as much as possible. You want to stay close as much as possible. You want to figure out what the fundamentals are. You don't want to change every 2 days or every 2 minutes. And model the people that are doing it right and make a commitment to do it long-term with a group. When Tiffany goes out and immediately starts recruiting, that's the right thing to do. I see a mistake a lot of people make is they don't recruit. And they say things like, well, I'm afraid of roll-up debt, or I'm afraid of this, or I need to help 40 families before I do it first. Or, what if I'm not successful? That's the point. Like, what if you're not successful at it? That's why you need to recruit. Recruit some people that are better at it than you are. My biggest fear was doing it by myself. Because when I started, when I'd write a policy, they'd all cancel. I thought everybody had like a 10% persistency. Not 10% fell off, but like 10% stayed on. Because that's how it was for me when I started. And if I just went off my results, I would have gotten slaughtered. But fortunately, the best thing I did was recruit some other people. And we all didn't get kicked in the stomach at the same time. So what that created was this environment of we are winning. Like, Craig, how was your day? If it's just me, my day sucked. I had 6 no-shows. I had 12 phone appointments and 2 showed up. One had a stroke while we were on the phone, and the other one thought they were getting health insurance. Like, that's a terrible. But look, if it's me and 5 other people, Trey, how's your day going? Oh, we are killing it. Mm-hmm. KG had 15 people on dialing with her on Sunday night. We are killing it. That cures all. So don't do it by yourself. Recruit right away. That'll provide you the structure that you're actually looking for. And it actually fixes 90% of the problems you have in the business come from recruiting somebody else. It fixes those problems by recruiting someone else. Like people say, well, I need accountability. Well, that'll give you accountability. You recruit your cousin in the business, you'll work harder. Your cousin writes more than you'll work on Saturday. If your cousin is on the dial team, you'll be on the dial room. If your cousin is on the team call, you'll get on the team call. Everything that you're looking for comes from this rule of momentum that says you never catch what you chase, only when you're chasing with a pack. So I don't know what the question was, but I think I answered it.
I think it was awesome, everything that you gave. I appreciate that. Trey, with so many people here right now that are obviously almost the entire company is doing telesales. How was that for you being a field agent going to telesales? How did you make that transition, or were you already out of the field at that point? Did you not have to do it?
Well, I was out of the field for a couple of years, and so much so that I forgot I even sold insurance. I mean, and it's been therapeutic to actually help clients with insurance again. That's the other thing that will cure all wounds in this business is there's not a problem that helping 10 families in a week can't solve. Mm-hmm. And there's not a problem that 5 new writing agents can't solve, but it has to be encompassing of helping families. Now, the phone sales thing for me was very, it is hard. I'm still trying to figure it out. Agent CRM Center, that is a game changer. It is impossible to do phone sales without a system like that because there's so much data that falls through the cracks, and so many times when trying to do it without that is exhausting and it's hard. So that has definitely helped. being able to just have people self-book that actually show up, being able to respond to texts because you have a I don't know what it's called, a pipeline for that, where I could actually see who responded, so I can respond to it right away, being able to book appointments that way. It's been a true game changer. But the thing with the telesales that I want everybody to know is it's really not that different. It took me a long time to understand that, but the struggle I had in the beginning was I was modeling people that had been in the business for 5 years that had figured it out. So they could go out and they could help 50 families in a month by doing 3 or 4 field days. And the biggest mistake I made was trying to go copy that schedule when I wasn't skilled enough to do it. And then we had this meeting, and Don might remember it. It was maybe in Riverside, and Sean came and he calls me out because I was working for Andrew. I was an employee at the time, and he goes, "Hey, you recruit a lot. What do you tell people when they ask how many days a week do they need to run appointments?" And I was like, 2 days a week, because Andrew could, in 2 days a week, he could go help 10 families. So I thought that that was the right thing to do. And he's like, "What are you talking about? 2 days a week, they don't have any money, you know?" And he like laid into me. He goes, "It's 7 days a week, they don't have any money." And I started thinking like, okay, wow, I've been steering people wrong, because I've been modeling the activity of somebody that's already worked through the ups and downs in the business. The faster I get through the learning curve by doing it all the time, the quicker I can get to the point where I can be profitable modeling their schedule. So the thing I took away from that meeting was Sean, because I was always confused. I was like, what am I trying to track? Am I trying to track annual premium every week? Is it a number of appointments that should be my goal? Is it is it how many people that I sit with? Is it how many leads I buy? Like, what is it that I'm trying to track is like the thing that I can track and be hold on to, is that being the measure of success. And then Sean said, just work 40 hours. Like, start by working 40 hours. So if you spend 40 hours setting appointments to talk to people about insurance and talking to people about insurance, then you will have success. The thing is, if you're doing in-home presentations, if you spend 40 hours setting appointments to talk to people about insurance and talking to people about insurance on those 40 hours, you'll have success too. But if it works the same on the phone. The only difference on the phone is some of the people that show up to your appointments that won't give you their social or they won't give you their bank account, those are the same people that if you drove to their house and you were standing on their porch, they wouldn't let you in. Those are the ones that would call and be like, "Hey, I had to take my grandma to the hospital. I had to take somebody to the airport," or whatever. So once I figured that out, that the key to telesales is just literally putting the time in. Like, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person, and not getting overly emotional and understanding that, like, the customers, the clients, they aren't having Zoom calls to get better at frustrating you and giving you objections. They don't do that. They don't conspire with each other. We have Zoom calls to get better at helping people with the products, but they don't have Zoom calls. So what happens is you can have 5, 6, 7 in a row that go really bad, and the next one is literally waiting, trying to figure out how to get insurance because their old policy just lapsed and they have $220 a month to spend. And if you just understand that and put the time in, 25% of the time you will find those people too. They're there. So in that instance, it is a lot like in-home.
Yeah, Trey, last year, I mean, I was out of the field for probably a year, and I jumped on to do telesales. It took me like 2 months. And I felt like a brand new agent. I'm sitting here every day on the phone. If I was a new agent, I could sit there, I could see, people do it every day. They come in, they don't have success and they quit. But I just knew if I kept going, things would, you'd figure it out because you always do. And, but it happened to me as well. So when people were coming in, I'd say, I'm the same way. I mean, it wasn't something that was easy for me. I was used to being in the field. So, I mean, I think everyone goes through it. And I think the quicker that people realize that and just realize the more reps that they go through it, the quicker and the faster they'll pick it up and get better at it. When you were brand new, Trey, and just starting here, because I think we see it all the time. People come in, they quit, and sometimes people quit fast. Were there any times in the beginning as a brand new agent that you just didn't think it was going to work out or you wanted to quit, and how'd you get through that?
Yeah, like every week. So I had this pattern. So this is what would happen. Like we would have these when you guys put up the slide with the calls. Okay, so Mondays you got the team call, then you got, I don't have all the calls memorized yet because I'm plugging into this for the first time. But the way it used to be was like, we'd have the wake up call on Monday. So I'd come in, I'd get all fired up, I'd get on that, and it's like time to dial. Right. And then I'd dial and I'd set my appointments and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill it. Tuesday and Wednesday, it's on. Look out. The world is mine. And then halfway through Tuesday, I got no-showed 4 times. I've been in 2 different drive-throughs eating Chick-fil-A, licking my wounds. Like, what am I gonna do? I sell the next one, but they cancel on the way to the next appointment. And then I got 2 appointments left, and I sell a $37 accidental policy to Mary at the end of the night. And I'm thinking tomorrow's going to be better. And so on the way home, I want to quit. Then tomorrow I'd go out, and the first 3 I would sell, and then the rest of the day would be terrible. And I'd think, oh, I just got lucky. I'm ready to quit. And then we'd have a call on Thursday. And I'd get on the call on Thursday, be like, oh my God, FFL for life. This is the best thing ever. And I would set appointments. And then they have a call on Friday, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill it. And the whole day would suck. And then I'd make the last 3 sales on Saturday, and then I'd quit and I'd give up. And then Sunday would come, and I'd be like, I'm never doing insurance again. I would sleep all day and be depressed. And then Monday would come, and I'd get on the phone call and I'd get all excited again. Like that was the pattern for me for like 4 years. And when I say that, people say, this isn't helping me. What I'm trying to get you to understand is like, if I didn't plug into the stuff, there's no way it would have worked.
100%.
I would have just quit the first time. But I kept re-engaging and re-engaging and re-engaging. And what you'll find out, the key to success at this is having a good sense of humor and a bad memory. So you need to be able to laugh it off and forget about it. I quit 1,000 times, but because my memory is so bad, I would be halfway through dial day going, wasn't there something I was supposed to do? What was I supposed to do today? I had a plan. And the plan was to quit, but I forgot. And so I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek, but that really was it. But I can tell you this, one good reason will overcome 1,000 excuses. And that's all you really need. Like you need to visit your reason for doing this and hold that close to you. My reason in the beginning, I had a conversation with Sean, and I'd gone through a lot of ups and downs financially, and he let me know that it was okay for me to have failed in the past, and it was okay for my intention to do this was for my family. Because people would, we had this for a long time. My wife's a school teacher, and people would guilt trip me, and they're like, your wife's a teacher, you're a terrible provider. And they would beat me up over this. My wife was a teacher when I met her, And one time we tried to fix the garage together because the garage door broke. And 4 minutes into trying to fix the garage door breaking, working together, we almost got a divorce. And so I realized I need my wife to have a job. Like this is good for me. So once I got my mindset around the fact that the motivation, like doing this for my family so that my kids could go to the school that they wanted to go to, and the fact that I didn't have to be perfect, and the fact that it was okay that I'd made mistakes in the past, and the fact that it was noble to work towards something, that I didn't have to knock it out of the park the first day, that nobody was going to fire me if I kept showing up, that the only reason for this to fail is if I gave up. Like once I really understood that, then I was never really ever going to quit.
I was the same way. I tell people all the time, I don't think you've truly arrived until you've like had your time in the beginning where you pulled over on the side of the road and cried, or if you're in a room alone crying and trying to figure out how this thing is going to work. Because I hear so many people that happened to, and I remember I needed this to work so bad. That was definitely me. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I just want this to work so bad. So I know a lot of people have gone through that, and I've heard plenty of stories of people that you would never even imagine, and everyone's done the same thing. And you go to that spot and you're just like, how is this going to work? So I'm glad you shared that with everyone. I think when people see people in your situation, or Dom or Frank, they just can't imagine, they think you just walked in here and it was like that, and they can't see or imagine you went through those difficult times. And I don't think anyone who's here and has a big team or having success, hasn't gone through difficult times.
Yeah. And the thing is, And this is, they say hindsight's 2020, right? Looking back, you can like piece together these things and it looks like this great story. But as you're going through it, the truth is you're failing most of the time. That's what it looks like when you're winning. Winning looks like you are failing most of the time. Most of the people aren't showing. Most of the people are no sales. Lots of people cancel. Lots of agents start but never start. Many start but never finish. Many start, leave, come back, do great. Like Stephen Yee, he's in my organization. He was with us in the first few months, left for like 3 years and came back. You know, and what would have happened during that 3 years had I given up? You know, I think about that all the time. Like you're so much closer to winning than you think you are, but God's greatest gifts come wrapped in ugly wrapping paper. That's the truth. It's going to come disguised as problems, and it's going to feel like you're failing. And then eventually you look up and you realize that like you've passed the monkey and now this is predictable and you can do it. And it just kind of sort of happens. Like I think one of the things Sean always did with us is when we were succeeding, we didn't really realize it. Like nobody went out and elevated their lifestyle to the point that they actually could. We were just working and investing back in the business. But when I look back, I go, holy cow, like I could have changed my lifestyle a long time ago. But there's 3 things you have to be really successful. You have to have a really strong work ethic. You have to be concerned with other people's success, more concerned with other people's success than your own. And you have to be willing to invest money. If you're a selfless person, hardworking, and willing to invest money, it's impossible for it not to work. It becomes a probability, not a possibility.
You know, Trey, every week we have people on and they're talking about something personal. And I think it was Kylie a couple of weeks ago. You know, her social media is absolutely blown up, but she talks about the year ahead of that where she posted, like nothing ever happened. And that's always the time when people quit, right? They get on social media and they go, this doesn't work, and then they stop. But every single story that we hear, earlier you brought up the CRM that we're using now. Like if you were involved with that 10 months ago, it was absolutely, I mean, Jesse Stam probably was definitely crying multiple nights because it was such a freaking mess. Leads were all over the place and leads were getting missed, man. I mean, it took a long time. But then by the time Dom got here, Dom was like, man, this thing's amazing, right? We didn't really realize what we had, but we just kept doing something. It seems like everything we all go through, it's always the same, a bunch of failure in the beginning, then you kind of come out on the end and now things are working. It's incredible. Dom, you have any questions for Trey? Hogging them all
Trey, dude, you talked about that that transition, okay, into telesales. And I'm hearing that it really is it's kind of like a belief thing. Makes sense? Like it's all belief. What has happened with your belief? All right. And how do you re-believe? How do you start to believe again? You know what I mean? Like, what is that looking like? Because I think a new agent could relate to that, and somebody who's been around. I've been doing 13 years and I'm still going, you got to believe. So what does that mean to you?
Well, the process is belief enables action. Like that's what everybody needs to be working on all the time, more than anything. And sometimes you don't realize how much you don't have it until it starts to build. And for me, where it started to build was just this understanding of like other people having success. I started going to lock-ins and I would see people killing it on the phone. Like I went to this lock-in in Vegas and Gary Michaels was there and he probably helped 12 families that day. And I looked at it and I go, and he's calling CRM leads too, by the way. And I always thought that. I thought it's the lead thing. He must have the good leads. You know, not these people complain about these ones. He's not using these type. People complain about these. People complain about these. He has special ones. Calling CRM ones. And not even new CRM ones. And I thought, my God, like what's the difference? And I started thinking to myself, well, maybe my difference is the attitude. Maybe the difference is the people I'm listening to. Maybe the difference is the environment that I'm plugging into. I plug into the FFL National Facebook group and all I see is success all day long. And it's hard not to create belief in yourself and believe that you can do it when you see other people doing it too. Shakia doing that on a part-time basis over the weekend, that makes me say to myself, if she could do it, I could do it. You know, putting myself in that environment, letting people know that I'm not that good at it. I helped 9 families in February. I submitted a lot. That's the other thing. I realized, start selling again. I'm like, I don't remember it being this hard to get people approved. Like, what questions am I not asking people? The number one thing that you have to have is 100% personal responsibility for where you're at. It's really easy to engage in this and go, oh, well, it's not working because I don't have the good leads, or I don't have the best CRM, like what Mike File, they have a good CRM. And well, I don't have somebody to teach me. And well, I don't have a good Zoom dial session. And well, I don't have this. And the truth is 100% personal responsibility for where you are. Because if you're at FFL, you can find all the things that you're looking for, but you can't do it blaming everybody else for your lack of success. And your belief is 100% your responsibility. So how do you build it? Plug into the Facebook group, like people's posts, encourage other people, cheer people on. It's hard to be a sourpuss when everybody's winning. Dude, part of creating momentum is pretending everybody's winning, even if we ain't. And I know that sounds, we don't have to do that. There was a time when we did have to do that. Right now, we don't have to do it. People really are winning. There's been times, there's been segments where we've had to like manifest it and create it out of thin air, and stay positive, even when there was no real reason to be positive. Now, there's a ton of success. There's a ton of people doing it. So just plug it in, getting on the live dials, having a schedule, telling other people what your schedule is and letting them hold you accountable. My goal, I'm $9,000 toward it, is to get to the cruise. I want to personally, how many people on here? 174 people. My goal is to personally produce enough to get on that producer cruise. You don't understand how uncomfortable it is for me to say that, because I say that, but I'm doing the work. It's going to be required for me to get on that producer cruise, because there's a lot of other stuff I would rather do. So I come to the office, can't spend 9 hours looking at Facebook. I actually have to talk to people. What am I doing? Oh my God, I just put myself out there. But doing that, putting yourself in that environment on a daily basis on the Zoom calls and saying, hey, my goal today is this. Making friends, being around people that see it the way that you see it, and learning to insulate yourself from people that are haters and doubters. That's a skill set. Like somebody said to me, my wife is a hater. She doesn't believe in me. Should I get a divorce? No, stupid. Just go to work. She'll believe in you this time. Like, I'm not saying get a divorce. Like, I got on the call. They said my associations were wrong. I got to get rid of you, Mary. No, that's not. Why don't you just work 40 hours? Well, you don't get rid of Mary. That's not what I'm saying. But there's some people in your life that you're spending a week with that you need to spend a day with. There's people in your life that you're spending a day with that you need to spend an hour with. There's people in your life that you're spending an hour with that you really should just spend a few minutes with. And that's okay to do that, because you can protect your mindset, and it's your responsibility to do it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So that's where it comes when it comes to the belief. And I think having a morning routine and actually writing down your goals and writing down what it is that you want, exercising, having people hold you accountable, starting your day out right, all those things, all that helps with belief.
Dude, phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. And I want to join you on the cruise. I'm with you.
Yes. Dude, I'm going to have one of those freaking inner tube things. Looks like a rubber ducky and a drink. Yeah, I don't even drink. I'm going to have an iced tea with a little straw, one of those umbrellas, inner tube rubber ducky. It's on.
I was on the last cruise, Dom, Trey, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was a great time. So everyone on here should definitely be their goal. Well, I appreciate everyone being on the call. Dom, thanks. Trey, thank you. It was a phenomenal call tonight. Again, everyone, we do this every Monday at 6 o'clock. I think the most powerful thing that we have in this company is plugging in. I tell people all the time, you have to plug in. I think in the beginning is more important than ever. And actually, even now, I can't imagine still after 9 years not plugging in. Because I think if you're not, it's very easy to fall away. And being able to see people like you, Trey, I talk to Dom all the time, just being around you guys keep me excited. And I think it's sad when I see people, you can almost tell when people are going to fall off. They stop plugging in, and it's so easy just to fall away. It can happen very, very quickly. So I appreciate all of you guys. I see everyone next Monday at 6 o'clock, and let's make sure that we are plugged in all week. If you guys need anything, let us know. And everyone take care. Let's kill it this month, and let's keep rolling. See everyone on the cruise.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Great training. Thanks, Trey. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you
Have a
guys.
great week.
Yep.